You just wait, kid. I'll skin you alive, Tang Rui said, turning and walking towards the bathroom. Someone's going to skin me alive, Aunt Ruan. What do you think? Tang Zheng turned to Ruan Hongzhuang beside him and asked seriously, I'll sit and watch. Tang Zheng paused for a moment. Sitting is too tiring. Aunt Ruan, you can lie down and watch too. After breakfast, the three of them went downstairs together to the parking lot of the residential complex. Tang Zheng, being a skilled laborer, pulled Aunt Ruan's suitcase to the back of the car and put it in the trunk. The suitcase was heavy, mostly containing various materials that Ruan Hongzhuang had brought back from the academic exchange conference. Closing the trunk, he opened the back door and got in. Tang Rui, in the driver's seat, glanced at the rearview mirror and casually asked, Why are you sitting in the back? I'm traumatized. I don't want to sit in the passenger seat anymore, Tang Zheng said, fastening his seatbelt as he gave a perfectly reasonable explanation. Tang Rui didn't say anything more and started the car. She had asked Tang Zheng to pick up Ruan Hongzhuang from the airport because she didn't have time earlier. Fortunately, the car accident 2 days ago hadn't hurt Tang Zheng. Otherwise, she would have felt terribly guilty. The car smoothly drove away from the parking lot, a faint fragrance wafting in. Tang Zheng glanced at Ruan Hongzhuang beside him. Sunlight streamed through the car window, illuminating her profile, making her look exceptionally beautiful. Soon, the car entered Jinghan University. After driving for a while, Tang Zheng and Ruan Hongzhuang got out first, while Tang Rui drove alone to the other side of the school's parking lot. School was about to let out for vacation, and his older sister would be quite busy these next few days. Tang Zheng, pulling his suitcase, walked side by side with Ruan Hongzhuang along the tree-lined path leading to the school. A gentle breeze brushed their cheeks, carrying the faint scent of osmanthus blossoms. Looking at the familiar campus, Tang Zheng suddenly felt a sense of reliving his past. However, this time, he would likely leave a different mark. A few minutes later, the two arrived at the teacher's apartment building. Just as they entered, they were greeted by a woman in her early 30s. She wore thin-rimmed glasses, had a dignified appearance, an intellectual air, and a gentle smile. You're back, Hongzhuang? The woman greeted them warmly. Yes, Sister Yang. Ruan Hongzhuang nodded in response. Yang Ningxi's gaze fell on Tang Zheng beside Ruan Hongzhuang, a hint of curiosity in her eyes. And this is? My friend's younger brother, bringing me my suitcase, Ruan Hongzhuang replied. Oh, then you go ahead with your work, Hongzhuang. I have something to do. I'll be going now. Okay. Tang Zheng glanced at Yang Ningxi's departing figure, then turned to Ruan Hongzhuang and whispered, Why don't you go up by yourself, Aunt Ruan? I'm leaving. Ruan Hongzhuang looked at him. What's wrong? Nothing. I just feel like it might be inappropriate for someone as handsome and innocent as him to follow Aunt Ruan back to her apartment. Stop thinking about useless things, Ruan Hongzhuang said, walking towards the elevator. You're so clever. Everything you think of is useful, Tang Zheng muttered, watching her retreating figure before pulling his suitcase and following her. Since Aunt Ruan didn't care, why should this handsome, innocent young man be so coy? The elevator arrived at the 3rd floor. Tang Zheng followed Aunt Ruan to the apartment door at the far end. Ruan Hongzhuang took out a key from her pocket, inserted it into the lock, and turned it gently. With a click, the door opened. The two went inside. Tang Zheng changed into a pair of slightly tight women's slippers and carried his heavy suitcase inside. The apartment wasn't large, about 30 square meters, with 1 bedroom, 1 living room, and 1 bathroom. The decor was simple, mainly gray and white. There weren't any of the cute pink decorations that most girls would have. 2 tall white bookshelves stood against the wall, filled with books from top to bottom, almost taking up 1 wall. Where should I put the suitcase, Aunt Ruan? Put it in that corner over there. Ruan Hongzhuang pointed. Okay. Ruan Hongzhuang went to the refrigerator, took out a bottle of purified water, opened it, took a couple of sips, and then turned to Tang Zheng, who had just put down his suitcase, and asked, "What would you like to drink?" "Cola." "No." "Then what do you have?" "Water." Tang Zheng. "Then drink water." He seriously suspected this woman was deliberately teasing him. Ruan Hongzhuang took another bottle of purified water from the refrigerator, went to Tang Zheng's side, and handed it to him. Tang Zheng took the water, unscrewed the cap, and was about to drink when he heard her say, "Take a break, then help me move that cabinet a bit further in." Ruan Hongzhuang pointed to the wardrobe next to her. Tang Zheng stopped drinking and looked at her. "Aunt Ruan, you didn't call me up here just to make me do chores, did you?" Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him. "Not too stupid." Tang Zheng. "What's in it for me?" Ruan Hongzhuang pointed to the bottled water in Tang Zheng's hand. "This water is for you." Tang Zheng. "I don't want it anymore. Here you go," Tang Zheng said, screwing the cap back on and handing it to Ruan Hongzhuang. "No returns or exchanges after opening." Ruan Hongzhuang turned around and walked towards the sofa. Tang Zheng watched Ruan Hongzhuang's departing figure, then looked at the bottled water in his hand, unscrewed the cap again, and took 2 large gulps. From childhood to adulthood, the path he'd walked most often was the one trope this woman used to pull. He'd never gotten the better of her. So what if she's a few years older than him? Why is she bullying him like this? Ouch! The water's so damn cold. A few minutes later, Tang Zheng moved the wardrobe to the spot Aunt Ruan had designated, turned to look at Ruan Hongzhuang, who was sitting on the sofa reading a book, and asked, "Any further instructions, Professor Ruan?" Ruan Hongzhuang, head down, was reading. "That's all. You can go now." "Okay," Tang Zheng replied, then plopped down next to Ruan Hongzhuang. Ruan Hongzhuang looked up at him. "Tired? Take a break," Tang Zheng said casually. Actually, in his previous life, he would have left after finishing his work. After all, he had lived under the watchful eyes of 2 women since childhood, and he was used to it. He never complained, always working tirelessly. In the new society, there were no slaves, unless he had an older sister and an Aunt Ruan. But he was no longer the Tang Zheng of the past. He wanted to change. He wanted to fight. He wanted to rise up. Professor Ruan showed no reaction to Tang Zheng's display of strength, returning her gaze to her book. Tang Zheng stared at her for a moment, then got up, went to the bookshelf, randomly picked a book, and glanced at it. "Sorry to bother you." Tang Zheng put the book back on the shelf, picked up another one, and opened it. "Sorry to bother you again. The 3rd book in the first row on the left. You should be able to understand some of it." Tang Zheng paused for a moment. Who does this guy think he is? The 3rd book in the first row, huh? I'll look at that one. Tang Zheng took the book down and returned to the sofa. People should have self-awareness and avoid being overly ambitious. The book was titled The Shape of Time, with a simple cover design. He opened the pages and began to read slowly. At first, he could keep up, reading from Galileo's principle of relativity to Newton's classical view of space and time. But the further he went, the more complicated the derivations and explanations about the constancy of the speed of light and time dilation became, like a tangled mess, increasingly binding his mind and leaving him somewhat bewildered. Tang Zheng handed the book to Ruan Hongzhuang, pointing to a passage and asking a question without hesitation. Ruan Hongzhuang turned her head, her gaze falling on the passage he was pointing to. She didn't answer immediately, but reached out and took the book, her fingertips lightly brushing the pages to the previous page with an illustration. "Remember this. The speed of light is constant. No matter which frame of reference you're using, the speed of light is constant. It won't change because of you." Her voice was calm and gentle, yet carried a reassuring certainty. Just then, Ruan Hongzhuang's expression suddenly changed slightly, her brows furrowing slightly. What's wrong, Aunt Ruin? Tang Zheng noticed the change in her expression and asked with concern. Nothing. I'm going to the restroom. Ruan Hongzhuang put the book on the coffee table, got up, walked to a nearby storage cabinet, opened the door, took something out, and headed towards the restroom. Ruan Hongzhuang stayed in the restroom for quite a while, about 7 or 8 minutes, before emerging. She was clutching her lower abdomen, slightly hunched over, walking slowly, her face pale, and her forehead covered in fine beads of sweat. Tang Zheng came out of the kitchen and, seeing her, quickly went over and took her arm. Let me help you to bed to rest for a while. Drink some hot water to calm yourself down, Aunt Ruin. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at the water glass he was holding in his other hand and nodded. Okay. Tang Zheng placed the water glass on the bedside table and helped Ruan Hongzhuang lie down on the bed. This water is a little hot, Aunt Ruan. Wait a few minutes before drinking it, Tang Zheng said, pulling the blanket over her. Ruan Hongzhuang responded weakly, her lips pressed tightly together. Tang Zheng tucked the blanket in, went to the coffee table, unplugged the electric hand warmer that was placed beside it, and returned to the bedside. I didn't go through your things, Aunt Ruin. I saw this hand warmer when you opened the cabinet just now, Tang Zheng explained, lifting a corner of the blanket and placing the warm hand warmer beside her. Ruan Hongzhuang picked up the hand warmer and placed it on her lower abdomen. The warm touch seeped through her clothes, and Ruan Hongzhuang's furrowed brows relaxed slightly. Thank you. A gentle, magnetic voice sounded. Tang Zheng glanced at Ruan Hongzhuang with some surprise, then took out his phone from his pocket. Aunt Ruin, could you say that again? I want to record it and keep it as a keepsake. Ruan Hongzhuang looked up at him, her red lips parted slightly, and she uttered a single word. Get out. Her voice was pleasantly magnetic. Tang Zheng straightened his face and seriously criticized Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed. Aunt Ruin, you're a teacher. How can you swear? That's extremely wrong. As he spoke, Tang Zheng tucked the blanket around her again. Get out. Her soft voice rang out again, equally pleasantly magnetic. Tang Zheng took his phone out of his pocket again. Aunt Ruan, yell at me again, okay? I'll record it and use it as an alarm clock to spur me on every day. Ruan Hongzhuang was silent for a few seconds, then simply closed her eyes, ignoring him. Tang Zheng looked at Ruan Hongzhuang's beautiful face, a smug smile playing on his lips. He'd finally gotten a little back. There's a saying, when a person is shameless, they're invincible. Aunt Ruin, is there anything else you need? Ruan Hongzhuang remained with her eyes closed, ignoring him. Then, Aunt Ruan, you should rest well. I have something to do and will be back in about an hour. Call me if you need anything. No need to come back. No, I'm still waiting to ask you some questions, Tang Zheng said, turning and walking towards the door without waiting for her reply. After changing his shoes, Tang Zheng picked up the keys from the shoe cabinet, turned to Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed, and instructed, Remember to drink the hot water by the bedside, Aunt Ruan. It'll get cold soon. Without waiting for her response, Tang Zheng opened the door and left. The door closed. Ruan Hongzhuang opened her eyes, glanced at the hot water on the bedside table, and closed them again. She wouldn't drink it. The sound of a lock turning came from the doorway. Ruan Hongzhuang, who was leaning against the headboard reading a book, instinctively looked over. Soon, the door opened, and Tang Zheng appeared, carrying several bags. Tang Zheng put the things in the entryway, changed his shoes, and went inside. Are you feeling better, Aunt Ruin? He asked, coming to the bedside. Ruan Hongzhuang replied weakly. Is your sister coming? No. Then why did you buy so many groceries? She can't cook and usually eats at the school cafeteria. I secretly honed my cooking skills at home recently, and I'll show you today, Tang Zheng replied. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him but didn't say anything, returning her gaze to her book. Just don't end up in the hospital." Suddenly, a large hand appeared in her line of sight and took the book away. "Aunt Ruin, you need to rest more now. You can't read. I'll put it on the bookshelf for you. You can read it when you feel better." Tang Jung closed the book and walked towards the bookshelf. Ruan Hong glanced at him, but said nothing. After putting the book away, Tang Jung returned to the bedside, picked up the empty water glass from the bedside table, and walked towards the kitchen. A moment later, a steaming glass of hot water was placed back on the bedside table. "Give me the hot water bottle. I'll reheat it for you." Ruan Hongzhuang lifted the blanket and handed Tang Jung the hot water bottle on her lower abdomen. Tang Jung took the hot water bottle, went to the coffee table, and plugged it in. "Want to watch some TV, Aunt Ruin?" he said. "Reading requires a lot of mental effort. Watching TV is different. It relaxes the brain." "No." "How about listening to some music? I'll play some music for you on my phone." "No." "All right," Tang Jung said, going to the entryway, picking up the bags and packages on the floor, and heading towards the kitchen. What a boring, beautiful woman. In the kitchen, Tang Jung put the ingredients he wouldn't need for the moment into the refrigerator and started cooking. Although Aunt Ruin couldn't cook, her sister would often come over and cook for her best friend, so she had all the necessary cooking utensils. Tang Jung took the cleaned black-boned chicken from the bag, skillfully chopped it into even pieces, and put it in a pot of cold water. In his past life, when he was with Lin Luoxi, he spent a lot of time studying cooking, often bringing delicious food from home to school for her, raising her to be incredibly healthy. Time passed, and the aroma of chicken soup gradually filled the apartment, rich and mellow. Ruan Hongzhuang lay on the bed wrapped in a blanket, her gaze fixed on the kitchen, unconsciously swallowing. The next second, Tang Jung came out of the kitchen. Ruan Hongzhuang looked away, glancing at the birds perched on the branches outside the window. "It's almost done stewing, Aunt Ruin. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat now?" "No, I'm not hungry." Just then, a soft but clear gurgling sound suddenly rang out. Tang Jung glanced at Ruan Hongzhuang's stomach. "Aunt Ruin, did you hear that? It sounded like something was making a noise." "No." Before she finished speaking, another gurgling sound rang out. Ruan Hongzhuang pursed her lips slightly, her gaze returning to the birds outside the window. "They're making noise again, Aunt Ruin. Did you hear it? It sounds like singing. Quite lovely." Ruan Hongzhuang didn't speak, her gaze calmly fixed on him. "Maybe I misheard," Tang Jung said, turning and walking towards the kitchen. Soon, Tang Jung reappeared in the living room, carrying a bowl of stewed, black-boned chicken. "Chicken soup is here. Try it. How does it taste?" Tang Jung came to the bedside. Ruan Hongzhuang sat up, looking at the chicken soup Tang Jung was holding. Steam rose gently from the rim of the porcelain bowl, a thin layer of oil floating on the surface of the pale golden chicken broth, making the red dates and goji berries at the bottom appear even more vibrant. It looked delicious. "Would you like me to feed you, Aunt Ruin?" "No, thank you." Ruan Hongzhuang took the spoon, scooped up a mouthful of soup, and the warm broth slid down her throat, rich and mellow, with the savory aroma of black-boned chicken and the sweetness of yam. Ruan Hongzhuang subconsciously narrowed her eyes slightly. She then scooped up a piece of chicken and put it in her mouth. The meat was tender and flavorful. She looked at Tang Jung beside her. "Where did you learn this?" "I learned it online. This is my first time doing this. I don't know how well it turned out." Ruan Hongzhuang looked at him and gave him a very high compliment. "You're quite talented." "Thank you for the compliment." It was quite rare to hear praise from Aunt Ruin. After all, this guy was a prodigy who won first prize in the National High School Mathematics League at the age of 16, skipping the college entrance exam and directly entering the School of Mathematics at Jinghan University. He remembered Aunt Ruin tutoring him in junior high school, At that time, she had already graduated early with her bachelor's degree and was directly admitted to the doctoral program at the School of Mathematics at Jinghan University. Then she gave him an evaluation that he still couldn't get over. Stupid as a pig. From then on, he began to work hard. He studied hard and successfully gained admission to the best high school in Hanqing, which was also Aunt Ruan's alma mater. Then, in his second year of high school, Aunt Ruan tutored him again, and he received another evaluation from her. Stupid as a piece of rotten wood. From middle school to high school, he didn't know if Aunt Ruan's academic level had improved, but her personal qualities had certainly improved somewhat. At least she stopped calling him a pig. Actually, Tang Zheng was very grateful to Aunt Ruan. If it weren't for her constant encouragement, he might not have been able to get into Hanqing University, let alone one of its best programs. You should eat too. I'm not hungry yet. I'll eat later, Tang Zheng said, watching her eat slowly. Soon, after finishing a bowl of soup, Ruan Hongzhuang felt warm. Her complexion became rosier, and she looked much more energetic. I'll get you another bowl, Aunt Ruan. Ruan Hongzhuang nodded, not refusing. The black-boned chicken was really delicious. She liked it very much. After the meal, Tang Zheng cleaned the kitchen and then picked up a broom to sweep the floor. Ruan Hongzhuang looked at his busy figure. Is there something you need from me? Tang Zheng paused, turned to look at her, clutched his chest with one hand, and said exaggeratedly, Aunt Ruan, you're hurting my feelings by saying that. Do I look like the kind of person who only fawns over others when they need something? Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him. Yes. Tang Zheng, 88 yuan. You're really good at judging people. Just then, a knock sounded at the door. Tang Zheng turned to look at Ruan Hongzhuang, his eyes questioning. If needed, he could go to the kitchen for a while. Although he and Aunt Ruan were completely innocent, Aunt Ruan was currently in bed, and if he went to open the door, it would inevitably cause some gossip. Go open the door, Ruan Hongzhuang said, glancing at him. Tang Zheng put down the broom and went to open the door. You're overthinking it. Aunt Ruan doesn't care about these criticisms at all. The door opened. What are you doing here, kid? Tang Rui looked at Tang Zheng, somewhat surprised. You drove me here yourself, forgot? Tang Zheng glanced at her and reminded her. Sis, you should go to the hospital when you have time. You're so young and already so forgetful. Getting too attached, huh? Tang Rui glared at Tang Zheng. I'm asking why you're still here. Aunt Ruan isn't feeling well. I'm here to take care of her. You're quite the attentive one. How come I didn't know? Tang Rui changed her shoes and went inside, quickly walking to the bedside. What's wrong, Hongzhuang? Are you sick? No, just my period, Ruan Hongzhuang replied. Oh. Tang Rui nodded, then suddenly sniffed. What smells so good? I made black-boned chicken. Want some? Tang Zheng looked at his older sister and said casually, You made black-boned chicken? Tang Rui turned her head, looking at her younger brother in surprise. What? Is that not allowed? Tang Rui glanced at him. When did you learn to cook? I didn't know. I can fly, you know that? I know that when you were in elementary school, you wet the bed once and were too embarrassed to tell Mom, so you secretly went to the bathroom to wash the sheets. Tang Rui looked at him, somewhat disdainfully. Tang Zheng's face darkened. When you were in middle school, you secretly used Mom's cosmetics and made yourself look like a monkey's butt, and then asked me if it looked good. Tang Rui's face also darkened. When you were in the first year of middle school, I was wrong. I was wrong, sis. Tang Zheng's expression changed, and he immediately admitted his mistake. Go, get me a bowl of your stewed black-boned chicken. I want to try it. Yes, sir. I'll go right away. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at Tang Zheng's figure as he walked into the kitchen and asked Tang Rui, What happened to him in the first year of junior high? Nothing much, just that he gave a gift to a girl, and she said it was ugly and didn't want it. He went home and secretly cried under the covers for most of the night. Tang Rui didn't hesitate at all, completely exposing her brother. Hearing Tang Rui's story, Ruan Hongzhuang instantly pictured it in her mind, a gentle smile appearing on her lips. How was the black-boned chicken that kid stewed? Was it good? Tang Rui glanced towards the kitchen. She didn't want to be a novice. It was quite good. Really? Tang Rui was a little surprised, wondering when this brat had learned this skill. A moment later, a bowl of still-warm chicken soup was placed in front of Tang Rui. Try it. It looks pretty good, Tang Rui said, taking the small spoon Tang Zheng handed her, scooping up a spoonful of chicken soup and putting it in her mouth. Tang Rui paused for a moment, then scooped up a piece of chicken and put it in her mouth. She slowly raised her head to look at Tang Zheng, sized him up for a moment, and asked, "Tell me, when did you learn this? What's your plan?" What? What plan? Why are you suddenly learning to cook? She was a good cook, so she knew the value of this chicken soup. A normal person couldn't make it taste like this without putting in a lot of effort. Can't I like it? Tang Rui glanced at her brother, then suddenly remembered something. You're not planning to cook this for some girl you like, are you? The one who brought you chicken soup the other day. Sis, don't talk nonsense. I have absolutely no feelings for that girl. I didn't even drink a drop of the chicken soup she brought before letting her take it home. Then you're planning to cook it for another girl, Tang Rui said with absolute certainty. A boy who doesn't go out partying or play games, but secretly studies cooking at home, definitely has a problem. I'm cooking it for Zhao Yihang, okay? Tang Zheng said, somewhat speechless. I see. Tang Rui nodded, a thoughtful look on her face. No wonder you didn't like such pretty girls. It turns out the gender wasn't right. Tang Rui gave her brother a firm look. Don't worry, little brother. Whether you want a boyfriend or girlfriend, I'll support you wholeheartedly. Just be yourself. Tang Zheng. Thank you, sis. Tang Rui took a delicious sip of chicken soup and looked up at him. By the way, does Zhao Yihang know you want to be his girlfriend? Do you need my advice? Tang Zheng. That's enough, Tang Rui. Tang Rui stopped teasing her brother and focused on enjoying her chicken soup. Another bowl, please. That's all. Tang Rui licked her lips, a hint of lingering satisfaction in her eyes, and looked at her younger brother. Can you cook anything else? No. Tang Zheng answered decisively. Tang Rui looked at him. Is it really that you can't? Or do you just not want to? No, and I don't want to. How about this? You learn a couple more dishes to show your respect to your sister, and I'll introduce you to some pretty girls. They're all students at Jinghan University, talented and beautiful. What do you say? Tang Rui directly resorted to her charms. No, thank you. Tang Zheng picked up the empty bowl from the table and turned to walk towards the kitchen. Tang Rui watched Tang Zheng leave. His rejection was so decisive. Could this kid really have a problem with his orientation? Remembering the magazine featuring beautiful women she'd accidentally seen in Tang Zheng's room, Tang Rui decisively dismissed the thought. So he already has someone he likes? She'd have to keep a closer eye on him. Her brother was so young and knew nothing. She couldn't let a bad woman fool him. Just then, Tang Zheng's head popped out from the kitchen, looking at Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed and asking, Would you like some fruit, Aunt Ruan? Why didn't you ask me first? Tang Rui looked at him, her tone displeased. Tang Zheng looked at his older sister. Why would I ask you? You're so greedy. Why wouldn't you eat? Tang Rui's breath hitched, her face darkening. Have you forgotten what happened in junior high? Wrong, sister. What kind of fruit would you like? I'll wash it for you right away. Tang Zheng immediately changed his expression, asking with a fawning look, "What kind of fruit do you have?" "There are apples, cherries, blueberries, grapes, dragon fruit, cherry tomatoes. What would you like to eat, sis?" "Where did you get so much fruit?" "Sis, didn't you say you wanted cherries last night? I bought some cherries and a few other kinds of fruit when I went grocery shopping. Why didn't you bring them over?" "You're so busy all day. I didn't dare bother you. I was thinking of bringing them back for you when I went home." Tang Rui nodded. Commendable filial piety. Bring them up for me." "Okay." Tang Zheng looked at Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed. "Aunt Ruan, what fruit would you like to eat?" "Either is fine." Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him and replied. The phone rang, and Tang Zheng took it out of his pocket and answered. "Emergency, Zhengzi." "Wrong number. I don't lend money." Hanging up, Tang Zheng carried the washed fruit out of the kitchen. His older sister was sitting on the bed chatting with Aunt Ruan. Tang Zheng placed the fruit on the bedside table. "I'm going out for a bit." "Going on a date?" Tang Rui looked up at her brother and asked. "Zhao Yihong needs to see me." Tang Rui sized up Tang Zheng. "You don't really have something going on with that Zhao Yihong kid, do you?" Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng left speechlessly. Tang Rui watched the door close, then turned to Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed. "Hongzhuang, do you think that kid really has something going on? The other day, such a pretty girl came over, and he practically ignored her." Ruan Hongzhuang didn't speak, but picked up a grape and put it in her mouth. It was very sweet. Tang Rui popped a blueberry into her mouth, then suddenly had a brilliant idea. Looking at her best friend lying on the bed, she said, "Hongzhuang, why don't you use your beauty to test this guy? If he's immune to you, then there's definitely something wrong with him." Ruan Hongzhuang looked up at Tang Rui, her red lips slightly parted. "Get lost." Her soft, magnetic voice was very pleasant to hear. 20 minutes later, Tang Zheng met Zhao Yihang at the entrance of a shopping mall. "Okay, what's up?" "Tian Tian's birthday is the day after tomorrow, and I'm planning to buy her a gift. Let's go shopping, Zhengzi. Can you give me some advice on what to buy?" "You should buy dog poop." Tang Zheng turned and left. Such a small matter, and she had to call him out so mysteriously. He could have used that time to ask Aunt Ruan a couple of questions. As for the sweetie Zhao Yihang mentioned, she was a girl in their grade, living in the same neighborhood as Zhao Yihang. In his past life, this guy had been a simp for her for almost a year, not only failing to get a single thing in return, but then one romantic night, he saw her get into a man's car, and then the car started swaying. Tang Zheng had tried to persuade him several times, but this guy was like a husky seeing shit, impossible to stop. Only after witnessing the swaying car firsthand did he finally shed his simp status. Actually, thinking about it, it might not be such a bad thing. Some things you only grow from through personal experience. Zhao Yihang reached out and grabbed Tang Zheng. "Don't go, Zhengzi. Give me some advice. I'll treat you to KFC. That Wang sweetie isn't that great either. How about this? When school starts, I'll have my sister introduce you to some beauties from Han University." "They don't even like me. I think Wang sweetie is better. She's more suitable for me." To be honest, this kid actually has a good sense of self-awareness. A real man shouldn't be so self-deprecating. "You're kind of handsome and quite tall and..." Tang Zheng felt his conscience was about to give out. "Okay, I think Tian Tian is better, and I already told her I'd get her a birthday present." "Didn't she tell you what she wanted?" "She said the thought is what matters, and she'd like whatever I give her." "Then why don't you just give yourself to her and say you want to be her boyfriend?" "She said her family is quite strict, and she can't date right now." "Then find someone less strict. Why hang yourself on this crooked tree?" Zhao Yihang glared at Tang Zheng, saying irritably. Tang Zheng paused for a moment, then gently patted Zhao Yihang's shoulder. I think what you said makes some sense. Okay, come with me to get a haircut first. I'll go shopping with you for a bit and give you some advice. A few minutes later, the two arrived at a barber shop. What kind of hairstyle would you like, handsome? Short, just 2 or 3 centimeters. Zhengzi, what's gotten into you? Why cut it so short? It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Zhao Yihang flicked his slightly flowing, side-swept bangs and said to Tong Zheng. Tong Zheng glanced at Zhao Yihang. You don't know anything, sir. Just cut it like I said. 10 minutes later, Tang Zheng looked at his clean and neat reflection in the mirror, quite satisfied. Now he looked like a man. His hair used to be so long it almost covered his eyes. Zhao Yihang stared at Tong Zheng. Zhengzi, do you think I'd look good with the same hairstyle as you? Tang Zheng glanced at Zhao Yihang's flowing, side-swept bangs. I don't know if it would look good, but it'd definitely be much better than what you have now. Zhao Yihang thought for a moment. Then I'll think about it. Let's go. You come with me to pick out a gift first. He'd finally managed to grow his hair this long, and it would be a little hard to cut it off suddenly. Let's go. Tang Zheng didn't try to persuade him further. After paying the bill, he left the barber shop with Zhao Yihang. He respected everyone's preferences equally. Outside the shop, the two walked towards the mall. Tang Zheng asked Zhao Yihang beside him, How much is your budget? 500, Zhao Yihang replied. Isn't that a bit too little? How about you lend me some more, Zhengzi? Want me to slap you twice? You should keep it for yourself. Do you know what girls value most? Tang Zheng suddenly changed the subject, speaking seriously. What? It's the sentiment. Didn't Wang Tiantian tell you? The sentiment is what matters. Then how can I show my sentiment? Zhao Yihang asked Tang Zheng earnestly, like a student eager for knowledge. Girls are emotional. The price of the gift you give her isn't important. What's important is that she sees your effort. Then how can I show her my effort? Zhao Yihang asked earnestly, his expression even a little pious, like a child humbly seeking knowledge. Can you fold origami cranes? Yes. Zhao Yihang nodded. You mean I should fold origami cranes for her? Smart. You've even learned to answer first. Tang Zheng patted Zhao Yihang's shoulder, looking at him with an air of appreciative interest. Is this okay? Of course. I gave Lin Luoxi a box of origami cranes before, and it moved her so much she said she wouldn't marry anyone but me. Then, Zhengzi, how many do you think I should give her? Zhao Yihang asked, a hint of excitement on his face. He seemed to be already imagining Wang Tiantian receiving his origami cranes, looking moved, and saying to him, My dear Hang, I want to marry you. It's up to you, but the quantity should definitely be a bit more, so it shows your effort. Then I'll fold 520. Zhao Yihang thought for a moment and said, But Tiantian's birthday is the day after tomorrow, and I probably can't fold them all by myself. Zhengzi, could you fold some for me? How can you let someone else help you with something like this? You have to fold them yourself, with your own sincerity. But I can't finish folding them all. If you can't finish, then stay up all night folding them. Put the same effort you put into gaming. Just imagine, if Wang Tiantian knew you stayed up all night folding origami cranes for her, saw your tired dark circles, and knew how much you'd sacrificed for her, wouldn't she be moved to tears? That makes sense. I'll go buy some paper right now, Zhao Yihang said excitedly. Wait a minute. What's wrong? Buying paper won't cost that much. Keep 100, lend me 400. I'll pay you back next time we meet. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to buy some clothes. Why are you buying clothes? To wear. Then remember to pay me back. I finally managed to save up this much money. Zhao Yihang said, hesitatingly pulling a small wallet from his pocket and taking out 4 red bills, handing them to Tong Zheng. Don't you trust my character? Zhao Yihong looked at Tang Zheng. You said you'd give me that comic book you treasured back in high school, but you still haven't. I'll give it to you. Of course I will. I'll give you one next time we meet. Go buy some paper. Goodbye for now. See you next time. Okay, I don't have time these next few days. I'll treat you to KFC after Tiantian's birthday. Okay, I'll treat you then. I said I'd treat you. All right, you treat. Go quickly. Hurry up. Okay. Tang Zheng watched Zhao Yihong's departing figure, then looked down at the red bills in his hand. What a kind person. Hello, classmate. Can I have your contact information? Sorry, my girlfriend is very strict. Walking through the tree-lined paths of the school, Tang Zheng arrived at the teacher's apartment building. Knock, knock, knock. Tang Zheng raised his hand and gently knocked on the apartment door. The door opened quickly. Who are you? I'm your long-lost older brother. Are you asking for trouble again? Tang Rui looked at her new younger brother. He was still the same person, but his entire demeanor seemed different. His long hair, which used to cover his eyebrows, was now neatly cut, revealing a clean forehead and sharply defined brow bones. Much of his youthful naivete had faded, replaced by a refreshing and sharp air. His clothing style was also very different. Before, Tang Zheng either wore sportswear or the kind of shirts with exaggerated patterns that young people like nowadays, paired with skinny ripped jeans and flashy shoes. Now he was wearing a simple white t-shirt, loose-fitting casual trousers, and simple white sneakers, which, combined with his tall and upright figure, he actually looks quite presentable now that he's dressed up. Tang Rui nodded, very satisfied with Tang Zheng's current attire. This was more befitting of her younger brother's status. Before, he was a complete mess. She couldn't imagine how many girls her brother would charm if he went to university. Tell me honestly, where did you learn to dress like this? Something unusual must be going on. If someone's style suddenly changes drastically, something must have happened. I'm an adult now, aren't I? Adults should act like adults, not like children anymore. Oh, you've matured quite a bit. Tang Rui glanced at Tang Zheng. All right, come inside. Your Aunt Ruan will see how much of an adult you are in a bit. Tang Zheng changed his shoes and went inside, heading towards the sofa. His Aunt Ruan wasn't in bed. She must have gone to the bathroom. Tang Zheng sat on the sofa, picked up the bottle of water he'd left over, unscrewed the cap, and gulped down 2 mouthfuls. That Zhao Yihong kid. He helped him so much, and he didn't even offer to buy him a milk tea or anything. He'd definitely have to remind him next time. A moment later, the bathroom door opened, and Ruan Hongzhuang stepped out. Compared to before, Ruan Hongzhuang looked much better, but her face was still somewhat pale. Tang Rui ran to Ruan Hongzhuang's side and took her arm. Come on, Hongzhuang, let me introduce you to my new little brother, Tang Rui said, looking at Tang Zheng sitting on the sofa. Come on, new little brother, stand up and show him to your Aunt Ruan. Tang Zheng glanced at her but ignored her. So, Hongzhuang, isn't my new little brother handsome? Tang Rui boasted to Ruan Hongzhuang with some pride. Ruan Hongzhuang looked away from Tang Zheng. He's all right. The 2 girls sat down on the sofa. Hongzhuang, do you remember that girl from freshman year who always came to you to ask you questions? The one who always idolized you? What's wrong? What's her name again? Oh, right. I think it's Song Xingyao, right? Could you introduce her to my brother sometime? Give me her contact information. That would be great. I've had my eye on that girl for a while now. She's beautiful, has a great personality, and is hard-working and ambitious. I used to think Tang Zheng wasn't good enough for her, but now he should be. Tang Zheng, listening from the side, looked helpless. Sis, shut up already. Stop playing matchmaker. She'd heard of Song Xingyao in her previous life when she was in college. She was a year ahead of him, and indeed quite beautiful, probably the most beautiful girl in the math department. "What do you know, kid? You have to find a girlfriend early. First come, first served. Otherwise, by the time you want to find one, all the good girls will be taken." Tang Rui turned to Tong Jung, looking at him with a disappointed expression. Her unreliable mother was always out having romantic getaways with her equally unreliable father, so Tang Jung's younger brother was mostly under her care. She even attended parent-teacher conferences during his high school years. Once, when she couldn't make it, Ruan Hongzhuang went in her place. Therefore, she was quite concerned about her brother's romantic life. She used to worry about him dating too early, and now that he was about to go to university, she worried he'd go astray. After all, he shared her excellent looks, and now he knew how to dress well. Plus, he was at an age where he was easily tempted. If he suddenly brought home a heavily pregnant woman while he was in university, her unreliable parents might be overjoyed, but she would go crazy. She couldn't let her carefully nurtured little flower go astray. Just then, a knock sounded at the door. "Little Jung, go open the door." "Yes, Your Majesty." Tang Jung stood up and walked to the door. As long as he wasn't set up with random couples, he'd do anything. The door opened, and Tang Jung paused, looking at the girl in the white dress carrying fruit. "Hello, is Professor Ruan here?" If he remembered correctly, this girl's name was Song Xingyao. "Looking for Professor Ruan, right? Come in." Tang Rui appeared beside Tong Jung at some point, smiling as she spoke to Song Xingyao. "Teacher Tang," Song Xingyao greeted Tang Rui. "I'm here to return a book. Could you please give this to Professor Ruan for me? I won't disturb you any longer." Song Xingyao took the book out of her bag and handed it to Tang Rui. "This fruit is a small token of my appreciation." Song Xingyao and Tang Rui had met a few times before, all when she went to see Professor Ruan. But this time, she felt that Tang Rui's gaze and smile were a little strange, like a big bad wolf looking at a little white rabbit. "It's all right. Come in and sit for a while. Hongzhuang always tells me you're an exceptionally talented child, diligent and eager to learn. She really likes you." Tong Rui took the things and smiled at Song Xingyao. "Really?" Hearing this, Song Xingyao's eyes lit up, her lips unconsciously curving upwards, her face showing a hint of flattery, even excitement. However, she remembered Professor Ruan saying she was stupid last time. Could it be that Professor Ruan was deliberately saying that to prevent her from becoming arrogant? Professor Ruan really went to great lengths. Oh dear, she was so touched. Tang Jung, standing nearby, noticed Song Xingyao's changing expression and glanced at his older sister's completely unfazed demeanor. Isn't this pure fraud? Tang Rui noticed Tang Jung's gaze and glared at him. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and get that girl some slippers." Tang Jung went to the shoe cabinet next to him, bent down, and opened the door. The shoes inside were neatly arranged, mostly flats, except for a pair of silver high heels on the bottom shelf, which looked brand new and unworn. Tang Jung took out a pair of slippers and placed them on the floor. As he closed the cabinet door, he glanced at the pair of silver high heels at the bottom. Such thin heels. It must be easy to twist your ankle. No need, Professor Tang. I just came to return a book today. I'll be going now. I'll visit Professor Ruan another day, Song Xingyao said, preparing to leave. Since you're here, come in and sit for a while. Hongzhuang doesn't have anything to do. You two can chat. Tang Rui gently pulled Song Xingyao's wrist, afraid the girl would run away. Just as the two were politely declining, Ruan Hongzhuang arrived at the door. She looked at Song Xingyao standing there. Come in and sit for a while. Song Xingyao's eyes immediately lit up when she saw Ruan Hongzhuang, as if she had seen her goddess. She obediently replied, Okay, Professor Ruan. Tang Jung, go wash some fruit. Understood. Tang Jung replied indifferently and turned to walk towards the kitchen. A few minutes later, Tang Zheng came out of the kitchen carrying a bowl of washed fruit. The three women were sitting on the sofa. His older sister was already chatting with Song Xingyao. "Xingyao, where are you from?" "Hangzhou." "Hangzhou, huh? I've heard that's where the beauties are. No wonder you're so pretty, Xingyao." No, you and Professor Ruan are much prettier than me." "You're so good with words," Tang Rui said, looking at Tang Zheng, who was walking over. "I forgot to introduce you earlier. This is my younger brother, Tang Zheng. He'll be coming to Han University to study in 2 months." Song Xingyao looked up at Tang Zheng, about to greet him. She saw Tang Zheng quickly place the fruit on the coffee table, clutching his stomach, and run towards the bathroom. "Sis, my stomach hurts. I'm going to the bathroom." Song Xingyao watched Tang Zheng leave, then looked away. "Useless thing," Tang Rui cursed inwardly. In the bathroom, Tang Zheng went to the sink, admired his handsome face in the mirror for a while, took out his phone, and started playing a puzzle game. Playing some brain-teasing games when you have free time is good for your brain. "Professor Ruan, please rest well. I won't disturb you any longer." "Okay." "Goodbye, Professor Ruan. Goodbye, Teacher Tang." "I'll see you out, Xingyao." No need, Teacher Tang. Please sit down." The door closed, and Song Xingyao left the apartment. A moment later, the bathroom door opened, and Tang Zheng emerged, clutching his stomach and looking somewhat weak. "What happened?" Tang Rui looked up at Tang Zheng, concerned. "That kid Zhao Yihang treated me to some spicy hot pot. It might not have been very clean," Tang Zheng replied weakly as he sat down on the sofa. "I told you not to eat that junk food, but you wouldn't listen." "Sis, you ate fried chicken last night too," Tang Zheng said, glancing at Tang Rui. Tang Rui paused for a moment. "Fried chicken isn't junk food. It's good protein." "How was that girl?" Tang Rui changed the subject. Tang Zheng looked puzzled. "How was what?" Tang Rui gave him a sidelong glance. "Stop playing dumb." "Sis, I'm only 19. I should focus my energy on more meaningful things." Tang Rui chuckled. "More meaningful things? Do you mean reading novels and playing games all day?" Tang Zheng: "That was before. I was young and naive then. Now I want to change that." Tang Rui looked at Tang Zheng. Putting everything else aside, his appearance had indeed changed, and quite successfully at that. "You haven't suffered any trauma, have you?" "Torture? Not really. I just read a novel recently. The protagonist was an ordinary person with no talent for cultivation, and then, through his own efforts—" Tang Rui sized up Tang Zheng, somewhat skeptical. Reading novels had such benefits? "Hongzhuang, do you think this kid is telling the truth?" Tang Rui turned to Ruan Hongzhuang beside her and asked. Ruan Hongzhuang picked up a grape and put it in her mouth, her beautiful eyes sweeping over Tang Zheng. "Maybe." The phone rang, and Tang Rui took her phone out of her pocket and answered it. A moment later, the call ended. "Something came up at the administration office. I have to go over there," Tang Rui said, turning to look at Tang Zheng, who was curled up on the sofa beside her. "Stay here and listen to your Aunt Ruan's instructions. Don't slack off." "Okay." Soon, only Tang Zheng and Ruan Hongzhuang remained in the apartment. "Is there anything you need, Aunt Ruan?" Tang Zheng asked Ruan Hongzhuang, following his older sister's instructions. "I'm sleepy. I'm going to sleep for a while. Just don't disturb me," Ruan Hongzhuang said, getting up and walking towards the window. The curtains slowly closed, instantly dimming the light in the room. Ruan Hongzhuang lay down on the bed, pulled the covers over herself, and closed her eyes. Tang Zheng glanced at Ruan Hongzhuang on the bed, took off his shoes, lay down on the sofa, and closed his eyes. He hoped that Aunt Ruan wouldn't snore and disturb him while she slept. Tang Zheng had only intended to take a nap, but perhaps because he'd gotten up early and was a bit tired from his morning run, and the living room sofa was still soft and cozy. Enveloped in the warm afternoon air, he drifted off to sleep. His dream was a jumbled mess. One moment he was pushing a box through obstacles. The next his older sister, Teng Rui, was scolding him by pulling his ear. And then there was Ruan Hongzhuang's soft voice whispering in his ear, like a breeze rippling across water, stirring the dream into flickering light. When he opened his eyes again, the sunlight outside was already slanting, filtering through the gaps in the curtains and casting dappled patterns on the floor. The room was quiet, save for the soft rustling of pages turning. Tang Zheng blinked, still a little sleepy. He stirred and found himself covered with a light gray blanket, its soft, plush texture feeling wonderful, and seemingly carrying a familiar, faint fragrance. He looked up at the bed. Ruan Hongzhuang was leaning against the headboard, still wearing her beige loungewear, her long hair loosely tied up. She held a book in her hands, gently turning the pages, her gaze fixed on them. Peaceful and beautiful. As if sensing his gaze, she turned her head to look at him. Awake? Tang Zheng sat up, stretching comfortably. I'm hungry. I'll go to the cafeteria and get 2 meals. There's still plenty of food in the fridge. Aunt Ruan, what would you like to eat? I'll cook for you. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him. Didn't you say you couldn't cook anything else? I was lying to her. Your sister's in the bathroom. Tang Zheng paused, instinctively turning his head towards the bathroom. I was just kidding. Just make it light and simple. Okay, Professor Ruan. Tang Zheng folded the blanket and placed it aside, then got up and went into the kitchen. He opened the refrigerator door. There were quite a few ingredients inside, most of which he had bought that day. He had already considered what to use for dinner, but considering that the charlatan Professor Ruan was probably hungry, he decided to make something simple and quick. Taking out the necessary ingredients, Tang Zheng skillfully tied on his older sister's favorite pink Hello Kitty apron and began cooking methodically, washing vegetables, chopping, turning on the stove, heating the pan. Need any help? A pleasant, magnetic voice came from behind him. Tang Zheng paused, turned around, and saw Ruan Hongzhuang had walked over at some point, leaning against the doorframe, quietly watching him, her gaze lingering on her pink apron. Tang Zheng also put the stir-fried shrimp and corn on a plate. Aunt Ruan, you should go and rest. We don't accept patients here. I'm much better now. Ruan Hongzhuang spoke calmly, but her gaze was fixed on his busy hands. Tang Zheng looked at Aunt Ruan's breathtakingly beautiful face. Although her complexion had improved considerably, she still looked somewhat pale. Aunt Ruan, can you tell the difference between light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and regular soy sauce? Tang Zheng asked, his question probing. Ruan Hongzhuang paused, her gaze sweeping over Tang Zheng's face. You seem a bit out of sorts today. Her voice was calm, but carried a hint of danger. Aunt Ruan, you're not going to hit me, are you? Tang Zheng feigned exaggerated fear, his eyes wary as he looked at her. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at him. Am I that scary? Of course not. Aunt Ruan is the most beautiful, kindest, and gentlest woman in the world. Tang Zheng gave a thumbs up, his expression serious. Stop trying to sweet-talk me. Ruan Hongzhuang didn't say anything more, turned around, and in her cute bear slippers, strode leisurely away from the kitchen. Tang Zheng watched Ruan Hongzhuang's departing figure, then turned back and continued with his work. To deal with a woman, no matter her type, just shower her with compliments. 20 minutes later, Tang Zheng finished and called it a day. The two sat facing each other at a small dining table. Steam rose gently, carrying the simple aroma of food, creating a warm, intimate space between them, evoking a sense of homely comfort. How does it taste, Aunt Ruan? Tang Zheng said, handing Ruan Hongzhuang chopsticks. Ruan Hongzhuang took the chopsticks, picked up a shrimp, and put it in her mouth. The shrimp was sweet and bouncy, with a subtle hint of wine and saltiness, perfectly cooked. The baby corn was sweet and crisp. A simple stir-fry, yet incredibly refreshing and delicious. She then picked up a small strand of noodles, blew on it gently, and put it in her mouth. The noodles were cooked to the perfect firmness, absorbing the savory broth. The richness of the lard, the saltiness of the soy sauce, the spiciness of the scallions, and the wheat flavor of the noodles themselves intertwined and blended in her mouth, creating a warm and comforting taste that soothed her stomach. Her beautiful eyes narrowed slightly as Ruan Hongzhuang picked up another strand of noodles and put it in her mouth. The afterglow of the setting sun shone through the window onto her profile, outlining her smooth, delicate jawline. Her long eyelashes cast small shadows beneath her eyes, trembling gently with each chew. Tang Zheng picked up a piece of side dish and put it in his mouth, suddenly finding the food even more delicious. Neither of them spoke again, focusing on enjoying their food. A quiet warmth filled the air. Time slipped by unnoticed. Tang Zheng's bowl of noodles was empty. Even the broth was gone. A moment later, Ruan Hongzhuang across from him also put down her chopsticks, pulled a tissue from the tissue box, and gently wiped the broth stains from her lips. "Are you full, Aunt Ruan?" Tang Zheng looked at the bowl of noodles in front of her. About a third remained. Considering Ruan Hongzhuang's usual appetite, this was already quite a lot. Tang Zheng's cooking skills remained consistently excellent. Ruan Hongzhuang glanced at the empty bowl of noodles in front of Tang Zheng, then pushed her own bowl towards him. "You eat it. Don't waste food." "Isn't this a bit inappropriate, Aunt Ruan?" Tang Zheng looked at the bowl Ruan Hongzhuang had pushed towards him. "What if I find it offensive?" Ruan Hongzhuang didn't say anything, stood up, and walked towards the restroom. As she passed Tang Zheng, Ruan Hongzhuang suddenly stopped and grabbed his ear. "Ouch! Ouch! Aunt Ruan, let go! My ear's going to fall off." Tang Zheng quickly covered his ear, his palm covering most of Ruan Hongzhuang's hand, touching her warm skin. "If you keep acting up, I'll rip your ear off," Ruan Hongzhuang said casually, releasing her grip and walking slowly towards the bathroom in her cute bear slippers. Tang Zheng rubbed his ear, glancing at Ruan Hongzhuang's departing figure. Why does this woman always like to pull ears? He looked away, then at the bowl of noodles on the table, picked up his chopsticks and began to eat heartily. So delicious.